And then we have a congressional hearing where we have Congressman Jack Brooks and others during Iran-Contra bringing up the secret plans, and they're told by Congressman Inouye that can't be discussed. It's a national security issue. So let's go ahead and play that clip. Then it goes to Henry B. Gonzalez of Texas saying, yes, under a crisis, they could bring in martial law. Here it is.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster?
Mr. Chairman.
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe that it was,
may I most respectfully request that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, I'm certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
The Whiteville Police Department had plans to conduct a seatbelt checkpoint on Saturday, April 4th at Highway 64 within the city limits of Whiteville. The checkpoint was planned to be in conjunction with Homeland Security and the 251st Military Police in Bolivar. After learning about this, I contacted Representative Johnny Shaw, who represents that area, ask you about this. Representative Shaw, you looked into this, and can you tell me what you've learned and where this stands now?
I can. Actually, this has been canceled. Some calls were made to the governor's office about this on earlier today, this Friday, and of course the governor just simply said, "I don't need another headache," and of course it has been canceled. And I will say to you that it was a bad idea in the first place. I mean, during this climate and this day and time which we live, can you imagine the Army stopping you for a seatbelt check? You know, so it really was a bad idea. I don't think it'll happen again because I think it would have frightened more people than it would have helped. And I'm glad the governor made that decision, and we will probably try to make this never happens again.
We'll follow up with you on that, sir, and find out what steps are taken to protect, to see that something like this the public is notified in the future.
Definitely we will, because the public should have been notified if it was going to happen. And as I said, you know, with the climate that we live in now, if you can imagine your wife, my wife, a daughter, or even son driving up on a situation like this, I mean, it could be a total panic. I don't know whose idea this was. It was a bad idea. And I'm going to make sure that I call all of the local authorities and ask them not to do this anymore. But if they should even attempt to make sure that they contact people like myself and make sure that people are notified as to what is going to happen.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. For the next hour and 30 minutes, I am going to cover the reality of FEMA camps in the United States. How it's controlled by the National Security Council, who in turn controls FEMA. Presidential Decision Directive 51 is in place, basically declaring the American people slaves of the federal government and saying that Congress and the courts are ceremonial under the president. So they've used continuity of government as a way to basically set up a dictatorship here in the United States. Now, I have made 3 police state films. I have also, written books and news articles on the subject. And the problem is when you cover FEMA camps is there's so much evidence, so many congressional hearings, so many news articles, so many documents. The problem is knowing where to start. But I will start this presentation right now by simply going over the fact that Glenn Beck, a year and a half ago, said that Ron Paul supporters should be arrested and that the Army should be used against them, and that they were dangerous terrorists. And I've said, hey, well, I've read that in a lot of federal documents and a lot of police training manuals in the past. And what Glenn Beck is saying is a talking point being given out to the media, because we were seeing Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity say it. We were seeing CNN hosts say it. We were seeing Joe Scarborough say it. And I said, that's a talking point. And then suddenly he started saying a few months ago, I'm going to expose the FEMA camps. I think they're real. And I said, well, look out, folks. He's just trying to get your confidence to then discredit it later. And that is indeed what Glenn Beck then did. He announced a few weeks ago, I'm going to have Popular Mechanics, the yellow journalist, on to debunk all of this. And then you literally have Michael Chertoff's cousin, running the division of the magazine that puts out these reports. You have this high-level CIA operative's wife running it. You've got, the 9/11 Commission officially saying that that's, sourcing Popular Mechanics as their source, when the whole thing is full of mistakes and disinformation, just on the 9/11 front. But on this subject of Popular Mechanics saying that they are going to debunk FEMA camps, they've really stepped in it, because the FEMA camps are on record in triplicate. Now, I did some research this weekend just to pull up past documents, articles, things I had read in the past, and therein lies the problem, trying to even cover it all. Here is the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, Army Regulation 210-35, and we're simulcasting the radio show at prisonplanet.tv, so we'll put that up on screen for folks that are watching. Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program. We're going to be going over that for folks. We're going to go over the official government documents and news articles about FEMA camps from mainstream news. I have that folder. And things that tie into the FEMA camps. Mainstream mass grave news articles and internal government documents about mass graves for the American people. The rumors end, the documentation begins. I thought I'd go over the executive orders for martial law and document those public pieces of material for you to go check out for anybody who's questioning. The public being prepared for martial law and the FEMA camps. And troops on the streets, that ties into martial law and FEMA camps. And a bunch of different videos where Congress and others are being threatened with martial law. And this is only, again, a small amount of the material we're going to go over in this presentation. I would ask listeners to check out every claim we're going to make for yourself, because the biggest problem we do have going for us is that most of the stuff I see on the internet is speculation or rumors, or they'll go show a closed Amtrak station and they'll say this is a FEMA camp. And they'll show the ticketing area where it'll have red signs for these tickets and blue signs for those ticket holders, and it's not a FEMA camp. And when Glenn Beck does his debunking, he says he's going to do tonight, I have predicted that he will go with the straw man argument. He will show where people have been looking for FEMA camps and been incorrect, instead of all of this material that he won't touch. Now, I'm told he went ahead and covered it on his radio show today and did, quote, debunk things, and it's on TV tonight as well. But we're going to go ahead and go through all this, and then you can go back and see his debunking and see if our predictions were right, the predictions I've made for the last few weeks. Stay with us. We'll go through it all when we get back. We'll see if we were right that he will build straw men. Now, why is this important? Fox News and the establishment have Glenn Beck come out. They try to get our confidence, and then they tell us that FEMA camps don't exist. When we know the FEMA camps exist, and the government has stated how they plan to roll out the use of the FEMA camps against the American people. So let's go ahead and start with this now. Up on screen are photocopies of the Miami Herald, and this goes back into the 1980s when they had congressional hearings dealing with shadow government and martial law. There's the headline.